provisions for special education needs has transformed the learning experience of thousands of students with special needs over the last few years, as the Ministry of Education continues to pilot programs aimed at ensuring all learners have equal access to education. On this edition of InfoHub Extended, we take a look at some of these programs and how they have impacted the lives of students with special needs.
Are you ready to embark on a truly epic adventure to an undiscovered corner of South America, where some of the most spectacular natural attractions are unveiled within a beautifully diverse landscape? From the wetlands and savannas to the ancient mountains, magnificent waterways and lush enriching rainforest would provide a vast playground for some of the most exotic and breathtaking creatures on the planet, including many of the world's giant species. This untouched land of mystery and wonder serves up an exclusive experience for travelers. So are you ready for a new, awe-inspiring adventure? Welcome back to nature. Welcome to Guyana.
The education landscape has been entirely revamped, moving away from times where classrooms were heavily biased against learners with special needs to a new era where inclusion and specifically tailored learning approaches are the norm for these students. The term special education needs is a way to describe students who have learning exceptionalities, difficulties, or disabilities, which make it challenging for them to grasp concepts, access information, master skills, and absorb content than other students of similar development age can. Children with special needs in schools include those living with learning disabilities, visual impairment, persons living with physical disabilities, and other disabilities. One student with special needs is 15-year-old Special Olympic medalist Faith King. Faith lives with a learning disability and attends in Barnabas School, where she receives a quality education geared specifically for her. Faith does it all.
Running, swimming, cricket, tennis, football.
St. Barnabas School boasts a wide curriculum inclusive of information technology, agricultural and other sciences, mathematics, English, social studies, home economics, and visual arts. The students participate in track and field activities, swimming, science fairs, and the annual children's mashimani competitions. Speaking to some of the students who are sports savvy, it was clear that their learning experience was nothing short of fulfilling and enriching. One of the students who was also Sportsman of the Year for persons with special needs is Anson Ford.
I feel great about it. I do running, cricket, and biking, a whole lot of sports.
My experience is basically my skills learning, to teaching you different craft, writing, reading, basic everything.
The Ministry of Education has been making strides to ensure the inclusive education of children with disabilities in Guyana, including children on all parts of the autism spectrum. Guyana had signed the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2007 and followed this with the passing of a National Disability Act. Another facility catering to special education needs is the Ministry of Education's Resource Unit for the Blind and Visually Impaired. At this unit, work is prepared for students in Braille or large text. The students are also taught basic life and survival skills in order to create wholesome and independent adults at the end of their tenure. They are equipped with skills in planting, self-dressing, typing, and the use of software to ensure that they are afforded the opportunity to live a normal life. The mission of the Special Education Unit within NSERD is to study, understand, translate, interpret, and support the policies and plans of the Ministry of Education relative to special needs education and as outlined in the National Education Strategic Plan.
Its primary role is to catalyze those policies and plans in order to accelerate the realization of national education goals. Additionally, it must be aware of changes and developments in the field of special education locally, regionally, and globally, with the view, where applicable, of recommending both adoption of best and emerging practices to ensure that students and teachers benefit from emerging trends.
In that regard, the unit provides continuous coordinated training for teachers based on the results of a needs analysis. The unit is compelled to always consider the availability of human and financial resources as both a constraining factor and causing creative responses to the needs. Education is never a one-size-fits-all. Every child has different educational needs, and every child has the right to have those needs fulfilled to the greatest extent possible. The Special Education Needs (SEN) unit conducts training for teachers within special education needs schools and mainstream schools. Some of those training activities include sensitization exercises because SEN is a fairly new concept to many. Training entails discussing categories of disabilities, teaching and learning methodologies that are meant to aid teachers in finding various strategies to help match each individual's learning styles.
Students living with disabilities now have a boost in their access to learning facilities geared specifically for them through several educational interventions. One such intervention by the Ministry of Education is the use of the Regional Special Education Needs Disability Diagnostic and Treatment Center to specifically diagnose the learner's disabilities.
This will allow the students to be provided with appropriate education delivery tailored to their individual needs. This program comes as the Education Ministry continues to make provisions for special education needs within the mainstream education system. In this provision, all teachers at mainstream and special education SEN schools are trained in the delivery of SEN content and approaches. National Special Education Needs Officer Savvy Hopkinson explained that the ministry is making strides to ensure all learners have equal access to educational opportunities.
For the future, we envision that SEN would even develop further, and where we can have our students within the special schools, even though their needs are identifiable, they were not given official diagnosis. Students are now able to have their diagnosis so that they can be provided with the right treatment, with the right educational plans to support those needs.
The Regional Special Education Needs Disability Diagnostic and Treatment Center is the facility that was created to diagnose the specific disability of persons living with disabilities. Currently, there are 10 SEN schools and 3 SEN classrooms around Guyana. The SEN classrooms are located in Region 3 at the Wales Primary School, in Region 5 at the Number 8 Primary, and in Region 4 at the Betavawacting Kwamana Primary School.
We would have also done teaching methodologies where we would help teachers to use various strategies within the classrooms to enrich those teaching learning experiences for students, particularly those students at risk, those who are struggling with learning, those who have many challenges. We would have also done training for blind education, deaf education with sign language, also sexuality and disability, and some other areas such as behavior management.
Some of the special education needs schools in Guyana are the New Amsterdam Special School in Region 6, the Unit for the Blind and Visually Challenged at Wismar, and the Linden Special Needs School. The Ptolemy Reed Rehabilitation Center, David Rose Special School, the Resource Unit for the Blind, St. Barnabas Special School, Sophia Special School, Kingston PIC, Sophia Open Door Center, and Durban Backlands PIC, all catering to the needs of all learners with special needs.
Well, we've made remarkable strides in special education, from moving from situations of isolation where there were limited schools. Now there are schools within different regions where students have access. There are SEN classrooms. So those are some stages where we can show progress have been made.
Hopkinson added that private schools also benefit from partnership with the Ministry of Education in relation to SEN programs.
We do not limit our training to only teachers of schools, that fall under the Ministry of Education. But also we would have in our program, we would include schools, private schools as well.
She also reiterated the possibilities that SEN has to grow within Guyana.
Later down the road, we will see having all these in place, that the right supports are put in place within the classrooms and that programs are developed to match those needs so that our students can become more successful.
There are SEN officers in Regions 3, 4, 6, 10, and Georgetown educational districts.
We envision that the whole process of providing education that is suitable for our students to develop to their full potential, that all that would come in place.
These initiatives are aligned with the objectives of the Ministry of Education, which are eliminating illiteracy, modernizing education, and strengthening tolerance. Learning disabilities identified and diagnosed by the Regional Special Education Needs Disability Diagnostic and Treatment Center are auditory processing disorder, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, dyslexia, language processing disorder, ADHD, and autism. In 2018, the Ministry of Education consulted special needs educators as part of developing a more holistic curriculum.
Director of NSER, Jennifer Comerbart, said the review of the national curriculum across the nursery, primary, and lower secondary levels aimed to be more inclusive.
The St. Barnabas Special School has a current enrollment of 89 students, 57 boys and 32 girls. Each class has 8 to 12 students in keeping with the stipulated number of learners per classroom for persons with special needs. Emerging as a special needs school in 1985, St. Barnabas School has championed the cause of students with special needs for decades. Students who perform at a certain level are transferred to mainstream schools. Owing to the fact that the school only caters for students grades 7 to 9, after completion, students are usually transferred to technical and vocational institutions such as GTI, GITC, Carnegie School of Home Economics, and Craft Production Unit. Senior Mistress of St. Barnabas School, Yana Chase Murray, said since her attachment to the school in 2007, she has embraced every challenge and has learned to deliver individual attention to each child.
We try to deal with them one-on-one. We try different methods, different strategies to meet the need of each child. We even go down as low as to the alphabet, whereas we teach them the name of the letter, the sound of the letter, because many of them would come sometimes not even knowing the alphabet.
Other teachers commented on the joy that accompanies providing equitable education to the otherwise disenfranchised students.
More lessons we plan to reach the children need because we want to see learning take place. And trying out different techniques. Who can't write, we put them to draw, we put them to make things, and the ones that cannot really write, you put them in the IT room and they do export, they do wonders.
As it relates to the evolution, I have seen significant changes as it relates to the contribution, significant contribution NSERT have been making towards special education. Constantly sending packages for us, constantly checking up on us, want to find out how we're doing, how we're using methods. Once we attend workshop, they always inquire how was the method that was imparted onto us, how was it effective in terms of their learning and the development. Their kits, once we ask for materials to make teaching aids, we get in a number, and previous years, never.
Special education needs have evolved in recent times. There is more inclusion, more normalcy, greater opportunities being provided to all persons living with special needs.
This is in keeping with the objectives of the coalition administration to provide a good life for all Guyanese, irrespective of socio-economic and geographical standing. It also coincides with the Ministry of Education's policy to ensure that all learners have equitable access to learning opportunities and its directive, which looks at eliminating illiteracy, modernizing education, and strengthening tolerance.